The worst selling brand new luxury vehicles of February 2026 are of little or no shock when I share with you some of the major issues, the problems, and the reasons why they're just not selling. Because they're not selling, you can walk and get yourself an absolute smashing deal on one of these 7 beautiful brand new luxury vehicles. I'm also going to share with you my own personal favorite, what I would buy. Let's get into it now. Life's too short to drive boring cars. No two vehicles are alike. There's some that are true junk, and I can't even believe they make it past the quality department. They're absolute trash. But there's some that are amazing, and you can't believe, why aren't people buying these? Well, I'm going to share that, and thanks to Car Edge for some of the statistics on market day supply, the number of days that you would sell that vehicle out if they stop production today. And hopefully you can decide for yourself if any of these are worth your trouble. But the first one we'll talk about is, in fact, the BMW 8 Series. Where is it? I don't see them. Well, guess what? That's because they don't get the notoriety. Everybody sees the M3s, the G80s. One of my great viewers named Dave has gone out and picked himself up a wonderful 8 Series, and guess what? It is a true hidden gem. Unfortunately, a lot of people just miss out on this. You can get either the B58 inline 6 in an 840, or you could step up to the plate and get yourself a twin turbo V8. The downside with these vehicles is the fact that they are large. They're an 8 Series chassis, effectively very similar to a 7 Series. They're long, large, 2-door, and the vast majority of the market is looking for SUVs. Well, guess what? A lot of us still love our cars. I prefer a car. Cars are always a better driving experience, and Dave fortunately has also experienced that. But the 8 Series, unfortunately, stickers for about $111,895, so that's part of the issue. And with a 207 market day supply, it's 7 or 8 months that it's going to take to sell out the current inventory in the US. And unfortunately, in the last 45 days, these dealers have been only able to sell about 432 of these units. Now, I personally think they're absolutely gorgeous. Full prominence, they're wide, they're long, and they're very stout. And when you're driving an 8 Series like this down the road, you feel like you're in something substantial. So it's a little bit of a surprise to me, but let's be honest, I think the vast majority of the reason people aren't buying them isn't the reliability so much, because the B58 and the 6-cylinder is bulletproof, and even the N63 or the twin turbo V8 has gone vastly better. I think it really just boils down to sticker price and the fact that most people are just shopping for SUVs. It's a sad state, but guess what? If you want yourself an amazing deal, 8 Series BMW's got your name written all over it. The second one is a little bit of a stretch calling it a luxury vehicle. It's more of an enthusiast vehicle, and we're talking about the Mini convertible based on Car Edge data. They're just not selling. Some of the issues for the sales comes down to the seasonality. It's a convertible, it's small, it's niche. But a friend of mine is actually rocking a JCW, that's a John Cooper Works. And I can attest, these are some of the most fascinating, interesting vehicles to drive. I love the fact that the wheels are on the outer edge of every corner, the vehicle is tapered in, and it handles like it's on rails. It's not a rocket ship on rails, but boy does it handle nice. These are fun, frivolous, and you know what? They have the durability, they have the quality feel like you're getting in a BMW, essentially minis built by BMW, but the convertibles simply aren't selling. With a market day supply of 224, you're sitting around 7 or 8 months before these all sell out. And for a sticker price of $44,000, about $871, a lot of people find it a little bit of a stretch to go out there and spend that kind of money on a small subcompact vehicle like this. That being said, remember, it is effectively a BMW. So you've got to get that stigma behind you. These are fun cars. But because of that, you can get yourself a smoking deal. In 45 days, all they were able to do was sell about 398 units, which clearly they're not selling that many. And when you spread that out across the nation, boy, that's pretty glim. There was a time when the Minis weren't very reliable. They had some of the Turbo 3s. They had some of the issues with oil burning and timing chain problems and CVTs. But guess what? CVTs went bye-bye. Pick up a manual gearbox, and even some of them with the automatic are much better these days, far more robust. They're also using engines like the B48, absolutely robust engine. They're one of the most reliable drivetrains you can find in BMW land today. Yes, they're available in some of these Minis. Bulletproof, reliable, fun as heck, and relatively cost effective. A Mini convertible, something you've got to look for. Thanks so much for all the new members supporting the channel. If you want your own emoji, priority questions, a sneak peek of a new video, or you just want to support the channel, be sure to hit down there, hit that link. That's going to do all the work for you. Thanks again so much, everybody. The third luxury vehicle that's one of the worst selling vehicles happens to go to the Maserati Grecale, and in my own personal opinion, I think they're wonderful vehicles to drive. I'm a little bit surprised because the late model Maseratis and Alfa Romeos are absolute a charm to drive. Now, they get a reputation conversation because of a lot of people assume that the reliability challenges are there, but they're no better or worse than anything you're finding from modern day Benzes or Audis. And they've got 10 times the personality. Sure, while they're part of the Stellantis fold, the reality is these are still largely an Italian-built product, and they're fun. They're great. One of the biggest holdbacks is some of the smaller cities and centers don't necessarily have the network to service these vehicles. Get into a city with over 1 million of population, and you've probably got a Maserati dealer right near you that you can get your Maserati serviced. The Grecale is sitting at a 232 market day supply. In other words, again, you're around 7 to 8 months before they're all sold out. And a lot of that comes down to the fact that in 45 days, they've only sold about 113 across the nation. And at $85,649 base sticker price, you're getting a vehicle that's strongly affiliated with Ferrari, one of the most legendary race car manufacturers you could possibly dream of. Maserati, with vehicles like the MC20, the MC12, they're absolutely all gems. Now, sure, you can find some phenomenal deals on the used car market, but sometimes with this massive incentives on the brand new ones, you can even get some great discounts brand new. Definitely give them a look. I personally enjoy the Maserati, and I think if you're looking for something a little bit more unique and you want that special vehicle that's more of a date night vehicle, that vehicle that you want to show like you are somebody, the Grecale might just be that vehicle. The fourth vehicle is a vehicle called the Buick Envision. I never envisioned I'd ever buy something like this, and quite honestly, I never will. All kinds of recall issues, all kinds of catastrophic failures, all kinds of quality troubles. Buick, GM, Chevy, struggles are real. Even though it's a luxury vehicle, I'm staying away from the Envision. I personally know somebody who works at a local GM dealer and they can't give these vehicles away. He's also even seen some of these vehicles that are only at 2 or 3 years old that have rod knock and engine failures already happening. I'm running away from these vehicles. Even at the low price tag of $40,994, it just isn't justified enough to me, even with the lower price tag compared to some of its competition. And with 267 market day supply available, they're not selling particularly fast. Sadly, they keep backfilling and building more, and I'm not sure why they do that, if we're being honest. Because in 45 days, they've only sold 1,910 vehicles, and at a vehicle that's priced the same as a RAV4 that's top trim, and a luxury vehicle that's priced like a Mazda or a Toyota or even a Honda, it begs the question, why wouldn't everybody buy a luxury vehicle like this? It's because it's a Buick. It's quite evident that these aren't selling. Nobody wants them. Nobody cares. It's the gray hair special. And honestly, I never envisioned I'd ever buy one of these myself. The fifth one comes from the VAG group. They've been charging lots of money, seeing big increases. A lot of it has to do with the fact of they can't get their vehicles overseas for a price point that's affordable. A lot of the VAG group products are susceptible to a lot of these tariffs, and these tariffs have been taking a real toll. What it means is products from Volkswagen, Audi, Group Porsche, they're all raising their prices. Because of that, a lot of people are finding it distasteful to actually even buy some of these vehicles. As a matter of fact, the next one on our list is an Audi S3 with a market day supply of about 318 days. Now we're up around that 10, 11 months of market day supply. You could pretty much guaranteed walk in there, throw a couple of bucks down, and they're going to grab it. They are hungry. These local dealers just want to sell these. And only in the last 45 days have they been able to sell 78 of these cars. What's going on with a subcompact luxury vehicle? They should be selling like hotcakes. Nobody wants them. I promise you, you go in there, you negotiate, don't take no for an answer. They will take your deal because these cars are not selling. An S3 is nothing more than a Volkswagen Golf R. Most people are going to look, I can save 5 or 10 grand, get the same platform and save myself a ton of money. And that's because even the Golf R isn't selling well, but if people are buying, that's what they're shopping for. I would buy the RS3 before the S3. I mean, who wants an EA888 engine when you can get that beautiful turbocharged 5-cylinder engine that's an absolute honker, the mini Lamborghini engine as they used to call it? The RS3 is truly the right package on this lightweight platform. The reliability has been up in the air. The S3 is not the worst vehicle that's produced by any stretch of the imagination. And quite honestly, with the price tag of $58,862, the high prices are one factor. The EA888 engine's another factor. But again, the value proposition's not there. People are thinking Golf R, people are thinking RS3. Otherwise, I'm just going to go somewhere else. For almost $60,000, Most people would rather go with an BMW 240i, or people would rather go and shop for a base trim M2, or an M340 BMW is a much better value proposition with more power and certainly more substantial platform. And in a cash-strapped economy, people want to know that they're stretching their dollars, getting the most bang for buck. And quite honestly, between the reliability challenges, the high costs of servicing, and the fact that these are just grossly overpriced, means that these S3s are just not selling. And this is proof in the pudding. Number 6, AMG GT Coupe, which sadly has a 365-day market day supply. That's right. At current sales rates, it's going to take a year to get rid of the inventory. Nobody's buying this stuff. But a lot of that should be of no surprise when you're talking about a sticker price that starts around $154,000. It's really no shock when you hear that only 96 of these vehicles have sold in the last 45 days. And considering there's still 778 of these vehicles left, a lot of it's the price. The G-Wagon has a prominence. It's $200,000. It's actually 50 grand more than this. So it's really not about the dollars. People are spending way more for a Mercedes-Benz that they actually find value proposition in. We know the G-Wagon has that stance, the durability, the ruggedness. Just like BMW's 8 Series, less people are buying those really expensive two-door coupes. It's a very, very niche market. Fewer people are interested in that. And this is a beautiful car and has a serious road presence. And I've driven them. I love them. The sound, they're amazing. They're wonderful. They're fast AF. But honestly, nobody's buying. They'd rather buy that big G-Wagon or something bigger, more powerful, something more versatile, all-wheel drive, 4x4, something that actually works for each and every day, something that you can even write off for the business and it actually makes sense. These vehicles are really hard to justify. It's a very niche market at a very significant price tag, and even with some of the quality challenges that transfer through a lot of the Mercedes lineup, a lot of people are starting to recognize, yeah, I'm not sure this is worth all the hassle. The 7th vehicle with panel gap problems, electrical failures, over-the-air update problems, braking issues, engines that stall and fail, electrical gremlins, infotainment issues, braking failures. I mean, where does the list begin and end? I could go on, but the reality is brand new Jeep Wagoneer is one of those vehicles that you could debate is even a luxury vehicle, but they are trying to brand it that way. So we'll talk about the Jeep Wagoneer as one of the worst selling vehicles in the market in February of 2026. With a market day supply that's absolutely abysmal at about 463 days. Nobody's buying these vehicles, a large part because Stellantis decided to start jacking prices up during the shortages. They thought they were going to get a hold of this, get ahead of the game, and start gouging consumers. Well, they did it for a while, but now it's starting to backfire. Nobody's buying these things. And like the Wagoneer S, that's their pure EV, those are even more abysmal. They're even selling worse. So even at a price tag of barely over $85,000, they're not cheap, but they're nowhere near the top of this list. And yes, they're one of the worst sellers. And only about 438 of these vehicles have sold in the last 45 days. Considering the network spread is absolutely massive for Jeep across the nation, they're just not selling. But remember, recalls and problems and catastrophic failures are abound. So if you're looking for one of these vehicles and you think you just want something big, large, and in charge, maybe think again. This isn't one of my favorites. As a matter of fact, on this entire list, the vehicle I would possibly buy, knowing that full well I could probably get myself a phenomenal deal, I'd probably look for the 8 Series BMW and see what kind of discounts and incentives I can get on the 8 Series BMW. I'd probably look at a Mini, but it wouldn't be a convertible. And I would definitely look at a Maserati Grecale, knowing that it's a special vehicle. I love the uniqueness and the appeal of that. And we have a dealer right in our city, so I have no issue with getting it serviced. The rest of them, I don't know, I could pretty much do without, and I wouldn't even miss it. I'm going to share a list right there. The only vehicles from BMW I would consider buying in 2026, unless I got myself a massive discount, and as well, the best Lexus vehicles for 2026. If you've been shopping, those are the only ones I would probably buy today. Hope to see each and every one of you real soon, everybody. Catch you then. Bye-bye.